Hey guys, I'm really sick and I lost my voice, but we had some recent developments in media the past day that I thought was very important, and I wanted to jump on here and make a really quick video about it, so pardon the voice. Here's what happened. This week, Stephen Colbert interviewed James Talarico on The Late Show. Talarico is a Democratic candidate running for Texas Senate. He's running to unseat John Cornyn. They did the interview on The Late Show just like any other interview that he does. They were told by the network's lawyers that they wouldn't be able to air it.
You know who is not one of my guests tonight? That's Texas State Representative James Talarico. We were told in no uncertain terms by our network's lawyers, who called us directly, that we could not have him on the broadcast.
They also said that they couldn't even mention that the interview was pulled, which is like insane.
Not only could I not have him on, I could not mention me not having him on.
What's being cited here is the equal time rule, which basically says broadcasters must offer equal airtime to political candidates. They ended up posting it on YouTube, which I feel like gets more traction than even being on linear television these days. The reason this is a big deal is that the FCC and its chair, Brendan Carr, have been pretty openly hostile to certain late night hosts like Jimmy Kimmel, and they wanted to suspend him. I did a video about that. Stephen Colbert's show getting canceled after he talk smack about CBS and Paramount. I also made a video about that, so I'll link both of those below in the description. But the fact that Brendan Carr's been going on interviews, scrutinizing shows like The View and, Stephen Colbert, and saying things like, we can do this the easy way or the hard way if they don't comply. Even though Colbert wasn't supposed to mention it, he directly shit-talked CBS and the FCC on air, and he mocked the rule, and they posted it on YouTube anyway, and I think that's great, and I'm happy for him because I think that these things stifle free speech. Even if you wanted to cite the equal time measure and other FCC guidelines, the fact that the FCC chair, Brendan Carr, has come out multiple times in many platforms, doing many interviews directly threatening late night shows, hosts, and just general talk shows, I think that shows that there's a lot of bias. I also think the fact that the president has openly tweeted about removing people off the air and canceling people's shows, you can't even deny that this is biased. It's pretty clear, and I don't think any kind of administration should have this kind of, you shouldn't have your little sticky fingers in all of this stuff. I mean, it's insane, and it really stifles free speech, and I think it really puts a chilling effect on a lot of the news channels and a lot of corporate media. What I think is crazy, though, about talk shows and even news comedy is I find that even these news comedy shows are doing amazing journalism. I mean, John Oliver is obviously well known for that. The Daily Show I absolutely love. I think they do incredible journalism, and you may not expect it if you don't watch their shows, but truly sometimes it's better than actual official news shows, in my opinion. Stephen Colbert has also been very outspoken, so is Jimmy Kimmel. So I think this is important to continue to have people advocate for free speech. Jay Leno commented at some point last year that shouldn't be making talk shows political, blah, blah, blah. And I've had people comment about that on my channel. And I just have to say, if you want to actually look that up and go and find out how many times Jay Leno talked shit about George W. Bush, about Bill Clinton, he made so many jokes about Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky. There was always politics involved in everything. There were political jokes. There were political candidates being interviewed forever. I mean, maybe after Johnny Carson. What's worrisome to me is I feel like this is the creeping censorship of media. Talk show hosts now being held to this standard that even, the freaking president or actual news shows are not being held to. It's something that, like I said, has been happening for many, many years. Yes, the core of the actual FCC guideline is equal time. It's always been selective. So let's just keep that in mind. And I do think that this brings up the question of how do networks regulate their own free speech? Because when they see threats like this, and with so many mergers, like Stephen Colbert's show was announced to not be renewed the day after he criticized Paramount and CBS for settling with Donald Trump and called it a bribe, and then ta-da, it wasn't renewed. So I think it's too much of a pattern, especially with Jimmy Kimmel. You saw him get suspended, and so many people canceled their Hulu and Disney subscriptions that they basically went back on that decision and reinstated his show. And I think that just shows how much power the consumer has unsubscribing and boycotting a lot of digital media platforms and streaming services to kind of send that message in this like capitalist corporate environment to say that, you know, we're not going to support you if you support these kind of suppression tactics. Vote with your money. Seriously, whether you're in the United States or not, I think it's really important to just make sure that you know what you're paying for. And I think we do have a lot more control, because at the end of the day, with like a capitalist society like this, we have control. The money talks. I'll keep you updated if there are any developments, but I do think this is something that is important. Even though I'm sick and my voice sounds crazy, I felt like this was something important to jump on here and just quickly address. Thank you for watching. Please let me know if you have more information or what your thoughts are on the subject, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.